The NBA Math Trade Deadline Primer makes a big stop in the Big Apple as we look at the New York Knicks, a franchise still very much in transition. The Knicks have overachieved to start the season following the departure of Phil Jackson, as they currently sit just a couple games out of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. The centerpiece of the team is big man Kristaps Porzingis, but the organization has done a nice job filling the gaps with veteran players. Despite that, there is still a decent amount of imbalance on this roster. The Knicks employ 5 players that are better served as being centers than they are at any other position. The team might be best served to trade one of them at this deadline. Likely names to be dealt include Kyle O'Quinn, a ferocious dunker and great offensive rebounder at the big man spot. O'Quinn has a player option for next season, and the Knicks would love to make sure they get something in return for him before he would bolt via free agency. Buried upon the Knicks bench is a very coveted youngster, Willy Hernangomez. Hernangomez is a below-the-rim type of center and is less mobile or athletic than most desired 5s in the league today. That said, he's a crafty finisher and should be the type of player that some team in need of a young big man would target. Beyond him, the Knicks have to figure out what they're going to do with Joakim Noah. Noah was recently sent home by the team after getting into a verbal spat with coach Jeff Hornacek. Since Noah is signed for 2 seasons following this one of up to $38 million, it's very difficult to move that contract via trade. If Noah's time in New York really is done, some sort of buyout might be feasible. The Knicks do have some luxury tax room to eat his contract this year and next season without feeling the great ramifications of doing so. If the Knicks can't come to terms with something like that, their next way to create more cap space if they want to go after a big name would be to trade swingman Courtney Lee. Lee also has 2 more years on his contract for a much more manageable $25 million. But dealing Lee would be much more of a sell-high move for the Knicks, trying to get more long-term flexibility. Lee is shooting a career-high 43% from downtown, making this the ideal time for the Knicks to sell on him. Beyond figuring out what to do with Joakim Noah and finding a new home for Courtney Lee, the Knicks don't have many tools to acquire any other assets. The Knicks do have a small $2.4 million trade exception from Carmelo Anthony, but lack second-rounders that they could trade for another veteran asset. While the Knicks are knocking at the door of the postseason, it's key that they remain with a long-term focus, trying to build around Kristaps Porzingis, Frank Ntilikina, and Tim Hardaway Jr. With cap space coming on the horizon, the Knicks could be a type of team that makes a splash soon.